song. So I kind of stole the title to this song. You are the one. I was listening to an interview on a radio station. Some fellow was talking about his experience that he had had with the divine, and in recounting it, when he felt that presence join him, he recalled how he thought to himself, oh, it's you. You're the one that I know. And when I heard him say that, I went, yeah, that's what it's like. And that's how this song, You Are the One, or at least how the refrain of it, was ever even born. One day I was whining to God in genuine frustration and anger. I was groaning, where are you? Where have you gone away from me? And I remember it vividly as I exited my room and walked across the green carpeted hallway into the bathroom while I was bemoaning my separated self. And boom! God was there. And I want to say, boom! God was there. Except that, well, for once, I don't think God could actually fully enter into this reality yet, or my consciousness, without both of them totally exploding.
Oh, hey, God.
And two, I would not say, boom! God was there, because it was more gentle than that. More like a whisper. Oh. I was complaining, and all of a sudden there was this awareness, this remembrance of a presence, so intimate and so personal, yet simultaneously so mighty and so ubiquitous.
Everywhere.
That there was no room for thought. It would have been a joke to think that this was anything other than everything. Everything that ever was, everything that is, everything that will ever be, and of which I was ineffably a part. A part, not a part. A part of. It didn't speak to me in words.
Silly human, words are for kids.
But it made it clear to me, in absolute, unquestionable, no fiber of doubt in my entire being, that it was, always had been, and always will be, there, here, now, forever, for fucking ever. And it had no need to point out to me in that instant what became immediately clear inside of that realization, which was that it had been I who had blocked out the Divine Wi-Fi. I was the one who had gone away, I guess to some planet called Earth or something, I don't even know. I'm so confused. And it hadn't made itself known to me in order to whisper any insult or to invoke any feelings of guilt or shame. It was just putting a little blip on my radar screen so I could correct my course in thinking. It was showing me, oh, no, I haven't left. I haven't gone anywhere. Because that's how it talks. It was my own twinge of guilt that I felt when I started crying and leaned over on myself in the sink. Hey, yeah. Hey, God, is that you? Yeah, hi. Look, did you get my message? Yeah, about that. But it was a remorse that I felt. It was not demanded or expected of me from that all-encompassing divine presence that had made itself known to me so gently in that moment. It just stayed there while I felt my guilt and my shame for turning away from it and for making the horrible mistake of blaming it for my loneliness and my misery. And it just loved me. And it made so obvious by its mere presence, not with words, but by its mere presence. And it doesn't really matter if I want to spend an eternity forgetting that it is there. It will never not be there. And I will never not be a part of it. Period. No questions asked. No guilt trips doled out. Just perfect, eternal love. That's so cool. That's something to be happy about. I'm pretty happy about that. Never leaving me. Never turning its back on me. Never abandoning me. Never abandoning you. It would be impossible to abandon us or to turn its back on us. Do you see what I'm saying? Are you picking up what I'm dropping? Everything could never be anything outside of itself. I say, you are the one that I know in the lyric of this song. Because in my experience, when I tap into the Divine Wi-Fi, it never feels strange. It never feels foreign. Rather, it's like remembering someone you forgot you remembered.
What?
Like, you ever have that shit happen on social media? Someone friends you from high school and you're like, oh yeah, I forgot I remembered you. You're good stuff, I like you. Except, only it's better than that. Because it's not just like remembering someone that you liked. It's remembering everything this matrix makes us forget. Like, there's no intimacy that compares to that sense of completely knowing and of completely being known. Known for who you truly are, not the worm that you think you are.
Hey, what are you trying to say?
Because the divine only acknowledges the truth in us. Because the truth in us is all that there is. And we'll sit there and argue. We'll be like, no, I'm a piece of shit. You know how stupid I am? And the divine is like, nonsense, poppycock. Because it also has an English accent.
That's funny. So do I.
No, you try to. You try to have one. And it just keeps loving us. And we're like hating ourselves because divine love keeps reflecting back to us this perfect beingness that we are. And we're like, but look at me. I'm such a total crap compared to you. I suck too much to belong to you. I don't belong to anything. I'm just gonna die and be reborn again, and then die and be reborn again, and then die and be reborn again until I've punished myself enough for not being good enough to belong to you. And it's like, you are me.
You are me.
Are you picking up what I'm dropping? I feel I was blessed to receive that message that I'm talking about here, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. It was a gift of extreme reassurance to me, and if I can pass that reassurance on, I want to. Because that moment shifted me. It corrected my thinking. There I was like, fuck you, God, for leaving! And then I was like, oh, you haven't. Oh, I'm sorry. Oops. How embarrassing. So embarrassed now. I don't have to worry anymore ever again that I have been shunned or abandoned by God. You'd be surprised at how many crazy things we do in life because in the back of our minds, we believe that we have been abandoned by God.
But I'm here to tell you, it ain't so.
That intimate and long since forgotten but never gone, and always available and always familiar, very loving presence belongs to each and every single one of us. Yes. Yes, every one of us. Them too. Yep. Yes, I know, right? But even them. Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right? Now, I haven't gotten all the kinks worked out about why myself and others are not in constant connection with that divine Wi-Fi, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with all of the fear that we're carrying around in ourselves. Am I worshiping you the right way? Am I sorry enough? Have I admitted I'm sinful enough yet? Are you mad at me? I'm so sorry I exist. I don't even deserve to. Have I said enough Hail Marys? I'm sorry, I suck. I'm sorry. In my experience, that loving presence of creation, that divine Wi-Fi, doesn't give a rat's ass about any of that shit. We invented that. That's our shit. And the more we focus on those fears, the less bandwidth we have available through which to connect with the divine Wi-Fi. The more interference we make. I can't hear you. Can you sound a little louder, God? I can't hear you through all of my anger. But just like my experience in crying over that sink with my head hanging low and filled with guilt and shame because I had turned my back on God and then blamed God for my annihilation into this no man's land. If we need to feel miserable because we can't believe that something that omnipotent and that all-encompassing and that all-loving and all-knowing could love us just because that's what it does, no questions asked. If we need to keep hating ourselves because we don't believe we are worthy of the love that we are worthy of just because we exist, love ain't gonna argue with that. It's not like our dysfunctional relationships. Like, it's not gonna argue. It's not gonna be like, you're gonna be like, oh, you don't really love me. It's not gonna be like, yo, I do. I really love you. I do. I promise I do. No. It's not gonna do that shit. It's not gonna argue with us. You're either connecting to the divine Wi-Fi or you're not. But it's still there. Here. This song, You Are the One, is a bit of a prayer. Because I've been blessed in my life with the occasional and profound, yet subtle connection with the eternal, it has allowed me to clear out some of the false programming from this matrix so that I am not praying out of fear. I am praying to be free from my fear. Not praying for forgiveness of my unworthiness to receive love from God, but praying that my awareness may be such that I realize that I am worthy, so that I might always be in communion with that love. Not like eat Jesus kind of communion.
Domino Padre Sanctus.
Or maybe, I mean, that works for some people. I've read some books on some crazy miracle stuff with that. So, hey, you know, I gotta be gluten-free, so I don't know if Jesus is gluten-free or not. And then lightning struck the blasphemer dead. Praying that the divine will enter through and work through me. Not because it needs me to pray for that, but because I need to remind myself constantly what my intentions are. Good news, guys! There is a divine Wi-Fi! And we can connect to that as we let go of our fears and our judgments and make room in our bandwidth for that connection. We are that divine. That's why it feels so gosh darn familiar to us when we connect with it.
Oh.
It's funny how you forget that you remember that you are yourself. It's weird, man. Magically enough, as I was scribbling out my notes for what I wanted to say here today, one of my great nephews woke up from his nap and gave me a perfect example of what I'm talking about. He got up from his nap and he walked around the house and then he just started crying. Crying. My dad, his grandpa, and myself were trying to figure out what was wrong with him, but every time we asked, he would just cry louder over us. He'd just get louder and scream. So eventually we just gave up, realizing that we were making matters worse by trying to talk to him. And I said, well, if you need to cry, that's okay, but just so you know, we're here for you if you need us. And eventually he stopped crying and he got himself together enough to say, where's my mommy?
Aww.
And my dad, his grandpa, said, well, she's right in the next room. I thought you saw her. And my nephew said in his little quivering voice, I didn't see her. As he hurriedly ran off into the next room, desperately in search of her motherly comforts. And I chuckled to myself at the parallel of what had just happened and what I'm trying to say here. How long do we want to sit around and be cry asses? How long do we want to be consumed by our misery? So caught up in our sorrow that we can't even notice that our mother that we so deeply long for has been right here the whole time, but we didn't notice because we're too busy throwing a fit. Sometimes we ask the people who are around us, who happen to know that she's right there in the next room, to point the way out to us. Maybe it's Jesus. Maybe it's Grandpa. Maybe it's a grilled cheese sandwich.
What?
You remember that shit? I think I was like back in the 90s. The Virgin Mary appearing on a grilled cheese sandwich. I'm fasting right now, so grilled cheese sandwich might give me a religious experience at this point. That sounds so good. I don't know. Whatever points us in the right direction. But if all we ever do is sit around, get caught up in our crying, being a bunch of cry asses, how are we ever gonna realize that our mama's right there in the next room, ready to swoop us up in her loving motherly arms? No questions asked.
And you are the place I must go. For you are the one that I know.
Thanks for coming this week on me and my song. Come on back next week as I sing for you the song I just told you all about in the Raw Reveal. Just so you know, I keep doing this because I know it makes you smile and sometimes even laugh, and because I know that music heals. I know that. And I'm going to keep on doing it no matter what.
Yes.
But also, just so you know, it is really hard work and it does cost a lot of money, and I don't get vacation days, so if you feel so inclined to be a donator, please do so. I won't stop you, really. Come on, feel free. You could donate just one time, you know, like throw in a tip in my tip jar, or you could donate whatever amount you want every month. Just like, cha-ching, just throw me a little chump change every month. I just said chump change, like I'm a chump or something. If you become a monthly donator, you get special perks, like free music downloads, extra videos, and a cool shirt like this, because having money on planet Earth always gets you special perks. But this is a 100% guilt-free request. I do this hoping to make you feel good, so don't feel bad if you can't cough up the dough. Shoot, I'm just glad you're here, because otherwise I'd be all alone. Well, you know what I mean. This is Jessica Leia signing off. Thanks for coming. Come on back next week. I will be here for you. And also, if you could just do me a favor and remember, keep singing your song.
Me and my song.
Jesus is just alright with me. Jesus is just alright. Oh yeah.